Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Fallout New Vegas. We are on episode 18. We've been doing roughly an hour and 45 minutes per episode. So we have seen way more Fallout New Vegas than you would have been able to see as far as the Fallout Amazon Prime TV series. And if you were coming to this game, which there is a decent argument that this is the Fallout game to play after watching the TV series, I have to say, I think you'd be very, very bored. Like, there's locations we've visited in this game and some missions we've done, but it hasn't really been that much. It definitely isn't a tight 45 minutes or so per mission, and with each mission being interesting, like you get each episode being somewhat intriguing. Then we have Veronica here, who is voiced by Felicia Day. I looked up the voice actress's name, who was somewhat of an up-and-coming nerd actress, appealing to nerds, if not a little nerdy herself. And then she just really didn't get successful and get a big break. She's still an actress, but she's too old. She took a break to have some children, and so I imagine she would be extremely lucky to get a second phase of her career. The problem with having cameos in a video game as far as voice actors and voice actresses is that the characters probably are not going to carry over to the next game, and you're probably spending some extra budget there. Whereas maybe it would be better if there was just slightly more budget spent on designing an area. The areas have been fairly barren. The number of encounters have been fairly barren. Now we do, in New Vegas, have the capability, at least with Eddie here, to have a secondary companion. But that brings about a very interesting question as to why, if these games are role-playing games, based off of tabletop role-playing games, why are we still living in a world where you can only have one companion instead of forming a full party like you would have in almost any Japanese RPG? Like, why is there that limitation? For a game like this, it kind of makes sense that maybe there wasn't enough RAM for the console versions to have two companions running around playing AI logic paths at the same time. But in 2024, you definitely should be able to have 4, 5, 6 companions all doing their own thing. Now, Baldur's Gate 3 might be an example of that, except for I'm not sure Baldur's Gate 3 is an action game, so it's probably a fairly poor comparison. But I don't think you really need a comparison. I think it is just pretty obvious that as far as gameplay mechanics these days, we should have basically an infinite number of companions that we can have in our group. So I imagine this guy's going to want to just talk to me. We're in Camp McCarran, the central base for the NCR. Nope. That seems weird. I know I'm on good terms with the NCR, but wouldn't it make at least a little bit of sense for a character to say hello? Why is one ammunition box allowing me to take things when the exact next ammunition box is not? That makes no sense. The logic in this game really doesn't make a lot of sense most of the time. And is it really worth your time to wander around just picking up ammunition? Not really. Yep. Clearly, there should have been a sergeant that should have walked up to me and said, meet up with the major. Whole bunch of crafting material here, which we could take. But I can't really craft it into anything. Nothing up there. Now, in fairness, we didn't really have a quest telling us to come this way. I have to wonder if this is supposed to be like an airport. Yeah. I think this is an airport. But yeah, I should be getting a quest. This feels and looks very much like a location in Fallout 3.
Let me guess. You got work for me, right? Well, you're too late. I just quit the bounty trade. As soon as I pick up some caps that Daughtry owes me, I'm out of this scrapyard.
So I have no idea who this is, but this will probably lead to a quest.
Well, shit.
And we're looking for quests.
Feel free to stick a knife in the old ego. Thought I made a name for myself around here. Guess that's as good a reason as any to quit this stinking trade. No glory. No easy money, no women, and no glory. Shit. I'd settle just for the women. Because I killed a couple of marks for him, that's why. You ever hear of Jackson? Or Night Terror?
I guess those were fiends.
Damn right they were. And they were good too. Till I popped a couple shells in their assholes. Bam. Dead. Finished. Over.
Still way too much
cussing. Somebody gives me a job, I do it. Maybe I complain a little here and there, but my shit gets done.
It certainly is worth pointing out that the biggest thing to revitalize Fallout before the Fallout Amazon Prime TV series was the surprise announcement of the cell phone game Fallout Shelter, which was much more cartoony and kid-friendly, and a game that was in no way anywhere close to any of the other Fallout games. I think Fallout works better if it is a little bit more kid-friendly and a little bit more comedic. I don't think you really need this hyper-realism sharp edge, because particularly Bethesda is just not going to get the graphics realistic enough or the storytelling written well enough for it to be long-term impactful.
Oh shit, I don't know. Gotta be at least a month. Longer than I last at most jobs. Oh yeah, a lot.
Yeah,
like
this dialogue where you have to hit A
I worked as a caravan guard.
to
You'd think that was a cakewalk,
go
right?
forward.
Wrong. Crazy bastards
Needs
expected me to wake up at dawn. Forget it.
Needs to be
It's about
adjusted
2 hours after this
just
guy hits the sack.
much more
And I need at
casual,
least 10, 12
flowing
hours of sleep to do
conversation.
my job. Price of excellence.
Like, I wouldn't mind if this guy just walked and talked with me and told me a whole story as he was a temporary companion.
Well, hey, the field's wide open now that I'm gone. Probably lots of people looking to get in once they hear I quit. Simple. Gonna make myself some easy money. I got a plan. Once I get my caps from Daughtry, I'm going to head on over to Gomorrah and win big at cards. There's not as many people playing at Gomorrah, so that means I've got better odds of winning big. I got this figured out.
I probably need to start thinking about increasing my luck.
See, I thought the bounty hunting trade would be easy money, but it turns out
Yeah,
it's hard
if
work,
I
so
increased-
screw it. Also, I ran into this Mark who was a little too tough for me. I mean, I could have taken him, but with this guy, might have cost me some bad burns or an ass rape. I'm all for risking my life, but I'm a little sensitive about my asshole.
Wow, they really are pouring it on. Let's play Caravan.
Alright,
We still
let's
don't
see what
really
we
know
got.
how to play this. I guess we'll just auto match. Still. And then we now have 37 cards, so we really don't have that many more. And honestly, I think this may just be a case where it really comes down to just whatever cards you have. Like, if I have 2 8s here, for instance, does that mean anything? Interesting. You can't play a 7 on a 7. Can't play a 7 on his side. really doesn't feel like we're playing blackjack here. What just happened there? Why is that a 22 instead of a 25? Oh, none of this really makes enough sense to me. And I bust with a 27. What do I kind of need the game to just autoplay, because that very noticeably was not a tutorial here that explained how this game plays. And I imagine you just can't put any more cards once you busted. And he's matching a red king with a red king. So 25 seems to be good. I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing here. So how in the world can I be happy or engaged with this caravan game when they just don't explain what it is or how it plays? So I apparently can't play any 8s. Apparently can't play any 6s. I have no clue how this game keeps going. See, that just like busted me again. So why is the game not warning me of those actions? Is there any way to unbust? Or am I wrong about even being busted? Okay, so I've lost a caravan, and I still don't know how to play. So I have no clue. I mean, it really shouldn't be that awful. Is there help? Weapons, right trigger, apparel, ammo, crafting, repetition, hardcore needs, movement, healing, cripping, weapon. All of this is just the entirety of the game. So theft and trespass are minor crimes, assault, murder are big crimes. Only a few people seem to even react based on karma. It seems to be reputation. Drugs and addiction, blackpack, slots, roulette, caravan betting. Caravan players begin the game by establishing a mutual bet. There's only one betting phase per game. Since Caravan has its roots in merchants' caravans, players are allowed to use common currency available regardless of its origins. Thus, bottle caps are common. Players may also use NCR dollars or Legion coins. Once a bet is established, players must move to deck building. To play Caravan, you must assemble a deck. It consists of 30 cards. Cards can be found in the world or purchased from vendors. I haven't found very many in the world. You assemble any arrangement of cards, but certain deck compositions will have strengths and weaknesses against given opponents. Once you've selected a satisfactory deck, you may proceed to the game to play this interface. Always remembers the last Caravan deck you assembled, allowing you for easy modification on subsequent games. First phase of the Caravan gameplay involves each player drawing 8 cards from his or her deck. From this hand, each player in turn lays down one number card or ace per track on the 3 caravans. Okay, so those are caravans. The players' 3 caravans are competing for contracts with their opponent's caravans opposite of them in the same hand. If a player has no numbered cards or aces in his or her hand, or if he or she is unhappy with any given card currently in the hand, the player may discard and draw from his own deck. However, discard cards are out of play for the current game, and a smaller deck increases the player's odds that they will be forced to forfeit the game through exhaustion. Most gameplay in Caravan occurs during the contract war. In this phase, both players are attempting to build their caravans to get them signed. To do this, their caravan must be neither light below 21 or burdened over 26. They must also compete with their opponent on the same track to prevent being outbid within the legal range. On each of the 3 tracks, a caravan is considered signed if the value is from 21 to 26 and it is higher than the opponent's caravan on the same track. If 2 caravans are tied, neither is signed until the tie is broken. The game ends when all 3 tracks are signed. Note it is possible for a player to win while signing only 2 of the 3 contracts that are going to the opponent. In such cases, all winnings go to the overall victor. Okay. That still does not explain some of the elements that I see in playing the game, as far as where you're placing the cards. I am still confused. And that really is just kind of nobody here. So I assume that we will have a war segment at some point. And then we will fall back to this fort. And you'll see a lot more NCR troopers in this fort. That would be my overall assumption. I also kind of just assume that there's nothing too interesting here. It would be funny if there was like a snow globe. There might be one. But the snow globes tend to be in locations that are slightly more interesting than just a fort. If it is going to be, if there is a snow globe around here, I would suspect it's probably inside the terminal. And the only interesting character we've seen so far has been Little Buster. Lad's Life magazine, not really worth stealing. None of that really worth stealing. No doctor, seemingly in this area.
We won't go quietly. The Legion can count on that.
Hello.
There you have I don't think we've seen welding guns. This is probably just your storage surplus location.
Mojave almost makes you wish for a nuclear winter.
Alright, we finally found somebody.
Legion can count on that.
Some important people.
I'm Lieutenant Gorobets, 1st Recon. If you're looking to collect a bounty, you should talk to Major Daughtry. We're the finest sniper outfit in the whole NCR. If you need a bullet put into a target's eye from 800 yards away, you call us. Some of my team aren't without their share of scars, though, like Betsy and Sterling. Cook, one of the fiends, ambushed her and 10 of spades. They both managed to escape, but not before Cook raped her. Betsy shrugged it off like it was nothing, but her behavior keeps getting worse. Always making passes at every woman who wanders by. It's inappropriate for anyone at First Recon to behave that way. I could discipline her, but I'd rather she get medical help.
Okay, so we need to talk to Betsy.
I'd appreciate it.
So
As
finally
for
we
CO,
found somebody
I
to give
could
us a
order her
quest.
to get help, but I'd have her agree with the idea. Corporal Sterling was an NCR ranger until he was captured by the Legion. They tortured him pretty badly. He wasn't able to be a ranger after that, but his eyes are still sharp, so I had him transferred to First Recon. If they've proven hard to kill, yes. Whatever it takes to get the job done, even if it means hiring help from outside the military.
So we'll
We're the
exhaust all
finest
the
sniper
dialogue
outfit in the
here.
whole NCR. If you need a bullet put into a target's eye from 800 yards away, you call us.
It's the exact same line of dialogue.
Carry on.
So now they've used the rape word, which, yeah, I doubt you'll hear that happening in the TV series.
Name Sterling, First Recon. Can't say I've seen you before. I'd
So
remember
here's
if I had.
Sterling. Let's see.
Got a good memory for faces, landmarks and such too. Comes with practice, that's all. A lot of scouting from place to place.
So I guess we'll just exhaust all the
I
dialogue
call
here.
her the Long Carabine. Didn't always have the scope. I added that myself. Been shooting with her so long, couldn't bring myself to toss her away. Would have felt guilty to part with the old girl. The other snipers used bolt action, but Gorbets reckoned it didn't matter none if I was different, so long as I could hit my targets. Used to be a ranger, one of the first they sent out east back before we took the dam. Observation and reconnaissance. We took the lay of the land, checked out the locals, and kept ourselves inconspicuous. A couple friends of mine were the first to scout the dam. That was back in '73, if I recall.
That would have been like 2173 or 2073.
It's just a little more literal nowadays. Well, that wasn't really a matter of choice. Got myself caught by legionaries up near Malpay. They had themselves some fun with me. Mangled my hands and feet pretty good. Wasn't much good with the pistol after that. Wasn't gonna be trekking across the waste on any more long scouts either. Caesar's boys figured I wasn't going anywhere after what they'd done to me, so they didn't bother tying me up. I crawled out of there on my elbows and knees. Must have looked a sight. Then I rolled down an embankment into the Colorado. Guess I had a mind to drown rather than give Caesar's boys the satisfaction of killing me. But a couple rangers happened to be watching from across the river. They jumped on in and pulled me out of there. Lucky break, they said. Going on 6 months now, but I reckon we'll be moving out soon enough. Can't talk about the details. Till then, we'll man the towers and keep an eye on the fiends. We've had more than our share of trouble from their direction. Whole thing smells of Caesar to me. Of course, that's just guesswork. But I'd still bet a few caps he's stirring up the locals against us. Always a pleasure. Keep yourself safe.
So that was Sterling. And we don't really have a quest as far as Sterling from him.
What can I do for you?
Yeah,
Carry on.
not yet. Let's deal with Betty, I guess. And then, so pretty obviously, Lieutenant Gorbets should have just been in the main section
Hello.
at the very beginning of the
I'm
area.
Bitter Root, First Recon. You got a reason to talk to me? You trying to start trouble? Or do you really not know where I got that name?
Speech.
It's a con name. You know, the great cons. That's what my parents were. I figured I grew up around the bastards. They owed me a name after all they put me through.
Okay, some XP from that.
They're dead. Got themselves killed at Bitter Springs. Served them right, if you ask me.
Yeah, you can definitely feel how this, when you look at the Rangers, when you look at the cons, this could have been a completely different game unconnected to Fallout. And it still would have worked, because the cons, the Rangers, they're totally not characters you're going to see in Fallout 3, and probably not see them in Fallout 4, and probably never see them again, except for maybe they'll show up in the TV series. But this being an Obsidian-made game, I don't think Bethesda is going to take much of anything from this game and put it in any future Fallout content.
It was a massacre. That's what a lot of NCR folk will tell you. Most of them feel plenty bad about what happened. But I was there. Saw it myself. I don't care what anybody says. The cons asked for Bitter Springs. They wouldn't leave the NCR be. My damn parents, too. They were just as bad as the rest.
It's kind of funny that he's telling you a story saying the NCR is not as bad as they sound. Let's ask how he survived the massacre.
Guess I could tell a pretty good story if I had a mind. But the truth is, I don't know. Just got lucky. They brought me to Daughtry after the battle. He was just a captain back then. Guess he saw something in me. Knew I didn't belong with the cons. Maybe he felt bad, too. About how his men killed my folks. I told him he did me a service, but he didn't believe me. Still doesn't. He's a good man, Daughtry. Doesn't act like it sometimes, I know. But he didn't have to take me in.
Okay, we have a high intelligence option. We definitely should take that.
It's like I tell Major Daughtry. Best not to look under a rock if you don't really want to know what's there. Could be that NCR found some blood on me and none of it mine. Could be that a few of those cons didn't die from NCR bullets. I had scores of my own to settle. Deeper ones than NCR ever had. Don't bother asking who they were with.
So he killed some of the cons himself.
You're not fully grown till you've taken a beat down. Everybody gathers around and hits you till you're damn near dead. After that, if you haven't begged for mercy, you get to choose a new name. One you'll use for the rest of your life. When NCR slaughtered the cons at Bitter Springs, I hadn't got my beat down yet. I was still too young. The way I see it, Bitter Springs was my beat down. So afterward,
Wow, the cons
I gave
really
myself
sound
a name.
awful.
It's all I got from the cons. It's all I ever want.
This is the kind of character that you really should have met and talked to hours and hours ago. Like, at the very beginning of the game. That way you have an idea who the cons are. We haven't even really fought the cons or seen them much.
Don't I? Beg pardon, man, but you never met my parents. My dad got himself fucked up every chance he got. Always started with folk for no reason. Hell, he was the one who taught me to shoot. You know how? By taking pot shots at NCR, and not just soldiers. Civilians, too. Even kids. Then he'd get high with his buddies and swap tales about the folk they killed. Bunch of animals. And my mom? A couple of times she tried to sell me to some waster just to score some jet. Even the other cons said she was useless. Only reason they kept her around was because she was a... how'd my dad say it? A smoking piece of ass. Yeah, that's probably best. While, I guess.
Let's go ahead and exhaust the rest of this dialogue, I guess.
I like to keep things simple.
It's too much now.
Just
Like
focus
that.
on now.
That was fairly
That's why they
intensive,
made me
good
a sniper.
dialogue.
You let your
So,
mind wander back a ways and you
really
lose sight
don't
of what's in
want
front of your eyes.
generic conversation
Did
from
we miss
him
a
at this
mark?
point.
Yeah, look, he's not my real father. He just looked after me for a while. It's a long story. I'd get tired of talking before it was through. You a merc? Well, then I guess you want to talk to my father. Major Daughtry. He's our CO.
1 second. Okay, I'm back. Apologies for that. That was really, really weird. I got a phone call from somebody, and it must have been the cell phone service was broken, because the person who called me didn't actually call me. So, weird phantom phone call in the middle of recording, and thought it was a bigger emergency, so yeah.
It's like I told you, Daughtry's not my real father.
Let's exhaust all these unimportant dialogue.
Guess not. I don't mean nothing by it. You really want to talk to somebody, try 10 of spades. He's always got plenty to say. Me, I'm here to do my job. For now, that job is shooting fiends. Alright, goodbye.
It is weirdly kind of circular logic that I have here, because on one hand, this area is too big for so few people, and it's really annoying to enter an area and just have no map, which you'd think there would be like better local map to tell you where people are to interact with them, but I think pretty much those two triangles that I see there are my companions. Otherwise you have nothing on your local map. And boy do I mean nothing. It is also worth mentioning how terrible the map is in this game, in that it's seemingly procedurally generated, or perhaps procedurally generated based off of very early versions of the game and then not tweaked. So there have been times where we've looked at the local map and there's just doors where there shouldn't be, and there's a lot of garbage that's not really necessary to be shown.
Hey there, miss. 10 of spades.
first recon sharpshooter. At your
Now they're gonna give me somebody
service.
with a stutter. So,
The LT told you about that? Shit, man. That's shit. It was my fault. See, I was knocked out when it happened. The big guy sneaked up on us. I let Betsy down.
so I guess we're gonna console this guy.
Shit, you sound like the LT. I should have woken up. I shouldn't have gotten knocked out in the first place. That shit was my fault. I don't want to talk about it anymore, all right? She's my goddamn partner. See, we work in pairs. We spot for each other, watch each other's backs. Nobody wanted to work with me. They said I was too green, but Betsy volunteered. Shit, you don't even know how big a deal that is. She trusts her life to the newbie, and I sit here and let her get raped by that piece of shit. Yeah, the LT shouldn't have brought that shit up. Not with civvies, anyway. Ain't right.
Let's exhaust the rest of this dialogue.
Oh yeah, fine. Just a little stutter. Had it since I was a kid. Doesn't stop me from kicking ass. Damn right. The LT, Gorobets gave it to me. See, I wanted to be ace of spades, but the LT says, sorry kid, you're too green. So he calls me 10 instead. It's okay though. I get a few more kills under my belt. He'll move me up to Jack. Jack of spades. Sounds better, right? I keep at it. Eventually I'll make it to ace. Think I'll skip queen though. Shit. Long as I can remember. Had a rifle in my hand since I was 3. That's what my dad always says. Learned to shoot on our ramp, way west of here. Same as the LT. He's a farm kid too.
So these might be giving me map locations, but it doesn't seem like they are.
Oh, they recruited me, what, a year ago? Taught me to kick even more ass than before. These guys, they really know how to kick some ass. Kicking ass. Mostly kicking ass. See, we're watching the perimeter right now, looking for those fiends to come back. When they show their faces, that's when we go to work. One shot, one kill. That's the first recon way.
Right, let's leave it
I'll
at that.
See you around.
So my thought here is that in TV and movie productions, you might very well have an overall writer, and then you might have a dialogue writer. In video games, particularly video games made when this game would have been made, I question whether you would have a dialogue writer that was separate from the overall story writer. Although, it definitely feels like there is a possibility that that is what's going on. Because it is a pretty easy crutch to just throw a lot of cussing in on the military dialogue. Let's go inside the building and see how many more people. I'm hoping that this would be more of a small area, maybe even a dungeon area, instead of a
What is
area
it?
with just a whole bunch more people to talk to.
Nice to meet you. I'm Curtis. Officially, I'm in charge of Bravo Company. But since General Oliver has Bravo and most of our forces here garrisoned, I'm free to do other things. So I work with Colonel Shu on logistics, patrols, supply lines, reinforcements, that sort of thing. Lately, it's been less about that, and more about figuring out how that information is getting leaked to raiders. It's a big base with a lot of unhappy soldiers. They get stir-crazy. Hard to separate the malcontents from the actual culprit. Later.
And there's just kind of nothing more to do with that, which that is probably better than having 5 lines of repetitive dialogue. Of course, everything is pretty much stealing here. There we have some more items getting knocked over by the terrible engine. I think one of the things about the engine that they use, I believe it's the Gamebryo engine, but I could be wrong, is I just don't think it scales correctly outside of its native resolution, and it may not even scale and do the math inside of its native resolution. So perhaps there would be a mod to fix some of that by just having the game scale at ratios that are exactly the same as its native resolution or exactly at its native resolution, and then adding a lot less quality up rendering and upscaling to it. That wouldn't look as good as having a game engine that could really run at like 1080p or higher, but it would potentially solve what seem like basic mathematical problems where things are clipping through the floor. I would assume there is also a case where the way areas are designed is built around some kind of mod tools and not just a case of somebody single-handedly programming a terminal to be at a specific XY position. And so the mod tools themselves may be the problem. Yeah, I don't care enough to steal bottle caps. We have all these slot machines, last chance slot machines. Can't do anything with any of them. This is just a NCR trooper. And I would assume that Betty was always a female, who is now hitting on females after being raped by a male.
There's a lot more troops here than we thought. No wonder we couldn't hold Helios 1.
Oh, she was at Helios 1. Interesting.
Something I can
Still
do for you?
question, though, if we aren't seeing slightly more minimal, unimportant NPC characters being female because I'm playing as a female character.
I'm usually good with faces, but I don't think I've seen you here before. What brings you to Camp McCarran?
Let's see.
You don't cook by any chance, do you? Farber's doing his best, but it's hard to manage an army with half my staff in line for the latrine. Honestly, we're fighting a lot of fires right now. The fiends keep pressing their position from Vault 3. We've got the Legion breathing down
Vault
our necks
3.
across the river.
That's a low number.
We actually took an officer alive last week, but so far he hasn't spoken a word.
Let's see. Bet I can make the Legion prisoner
I have
talk.
Lieutenant Boyd on that already, and she's excellent, but I think she's hit a wall. Talk to her if you like. See if she has any use for you. Her office is right above mine, but I think she might be interrogating right now. So she'd be upstairs on the other side of the building. Yeah. On top of everything else, I can't send a patrol on a bathroom break without it being ambushed by someone who heard they were coming. So somebody's getting the word out. As in chem fiends.
Once again, we have to just
Biggest gang of raiders I've ever
exhaust
seen. Nothing like
all the
addiction to swell your
dialogue.
numbers. Psychotic and completely unpredictable. They set up shop in Vault 3 to the west. Every day they attack our positions and my men repel them. But every day there's more of them and less of us. I sent one of my rangers after their leader to try and destabilize them. He didn't return. Hell of a thing losing a ranger. You come to depend on them. And they come through for you so often, you forget it can happen. That vault is a hornet's nest. If you have second thoughts, no one would think less of you for it. But if you can get him home, it'd mean a lot. Watch for civilians, too. The fiends have been kidnapping locals. They just walk right into people's homes in the middle of the day and take them. But the man you're looking for is Bryce Anders. Anders was trying to find the leader, Motor Runner. You hear something like a chainsaw? You've found Motor Runner. Put a bullet in his head, and you'll have some new friends around here. Calm is what you have to be when people look to you. And it's all you can be when things are out of your hands. Could be better, I'll say that much. We set up here with our sights set on annexing New Vegas. It's a lot of resources that could do a lot of good for us. But that hasn't happened. If anything, they annexed us. They rake in the profits from our soldiers, and we're stuck protecting them from the Legion. Not exactly the plan. Now we're trying to secure the Strip and the dam at the same time, and it's costing us. And in the meantime, General Oliver won't approve any offensive maneuvers because he doesn't want to risk losing our positions. So we're in a holding pattern here. And Caesar's on the other side of the river, planning. Well, why not? Given your recent arrival, at least I can safely rule you out as the leak. I'd like to have absolute trust in my men, but that's just not practical right now. Go ahead and look into it. See what you find. We don't have much to go on right now. Lately, every raiding party in New Vegas seems to have a map of our troop movements. It derails everything. Supplies, reinforcements, and it'll only get worse the longer we let it go on. Captain Curtis is heading up the investigation right now. He can fill you in.
So finally we found a place to get a bunch of quests,
It's
so
our
we
main
can get
base.
back on the
We
path
took
of
it because
just
it
having
lets us keep
reasons
an
to
eye on
go
the
to
Strip,
certain
and it
places.
had already been fortified before the Great War. From here we handle most of the logistics for our operations in Nevada. Troop allocation, supply distribution, intel. Usually
It
General
doesn't
Oliver
seem
runs
like the
show here,
NCR really
but
has
he's on his
any
way to the dam now,
planes.
so I've taken on a lot of his duties here. Unfortunately, no. In fact, the word from the ranger stations has been especially concerning lately. It sounds like they've run into overwhelming resistance, and supplies just aren't reaching them. It's been so bad, I asked Sergeant Reyes at Camp Forlorn Hope to look into it, and see how it is that things could be so fouled up there. Everything was going according to President Kimball's plan at first. We met minor resistance from local troublemakers, but our two main objectives are still contested. Mr. House controls the Strip, and he won't so much as meet with our ambassador. And we're holding Hoover Dam. But Caesar's Legion is positioning itself to overrun it. If it falls, so will New Vegas. We'd be forced to withdraw.
So we've exhausted all of that.
Bye.
That's the first time we've had Mr. House even being mentioned in this game. And he, I know, is a major part. Maybe Mr. House was mentioned very much at the first 5 minutes of the game. Let's go back here and see if we get any more information from this guy.
What is it? Smart man. I could use somebody who can operate under the radar around here. Whoever our mole is, he's been slippery. Whenever one of the MPs gets too close, he changes his habits. Our last lead went cold weeks ago. You want my advice? Start by talking to people with a lot of eyes in the field. People like Lieutenant Boyd or Sergeant Contreras, maybe. Careful with Contreras, though. He's not above suspicion himself. Keep me apprised of any leads you get. This guy's gotten a lot of my men killed. I'm just itching to return the favor. Later.
Okay, moving forward. Let's see, we can now go upward and see if we can get the Legion prisoner to talk. Imagine he is... I thought I saw something there. So I imagine the prisoner is behind one of
Boyd's in
these.
there with the prisoner right now. Boy, is she pissed. Boyd's in there with the prisoner right now.
Interesting,
Boy,
we
is she
can't
pissed.
talk to him even though he has a name.
You stick out like a sore thumb around here. You sure you're in the right place?
So we have even more dialogue. to ask about.
Not big on reading name tags, huh? That's okay. My name is long and difficult to pronounce. Ready for it? It's Boyd. Lieutenant Boyd to my friends. Colonel Shu has me handling the policing duties for the base.
Shu's a
I've
funny
told him
name.
he could make my job a whole lot easier if he would just let me shoot
Sounds
anyone
like
who
it
talks
would be
back to me.
Asian,
But you know how colonels
which
can be.
doesn't make sense. Again, that there would be any Asian characters. I guess the cons here could be Asian characters, but it still doesn't make sense that there would be any Asians of any real numbers in the United States before the bomb spell.
Yeah, so far this has gone exactly as expected. Poorly. But with the work you've done for NCR already, you might be just what I've been looking for. We captured an honest-to-God centurion of Caesar's Legion recently. Better believe it. Everybody in Caesar's Legion from Caesar on down will kill themselves before they can be captured. They're so twitchy they'd probably do it if you reached out to hug them. But here's this guy, who's an elite commander in their army, and he just gives himself up, even as his men are slitting their own throats around him. Well, I don't know about you, but to me that sounds like a man who's willing to cooperate. Except he hasn't. Only times he speaks up are to insult you. He's a real prick, by the way. And I'm supposed to get information out of this guy.
So here's where you could get some comedy, but I'm not sure if Fallout benefits by having snarky, sarcastic choices. Why don't you beat him senseless? Have you tried a truth drug? Have you tried calling him hurtful names? Let's go with truth drug.
Don't have anything like that. Sounds nice. Like the kind of thing I'd want to take home and use on my husband. But even if we did, I don't know that I'd be comfortable using it. If there's any risk of overdose, it's not worth it. Asshole's too valuable.
Let's see.
I like the way you think. Have I said that yet? Problem is that the NCR frowns on using that sort of tactic. There are some restrictions still in place from President Tandy's administration. But here's my favorite thing about you. You're not in the NCR. Plus, for all this guy knows, you're completely insane. That's a winning combination.
So you want me to do what you can't. Okay.
I think if you rough him up enough and really put some fear into him, he'll sing like a choir boy. So let's do this. When you're ready, I'll go in and give you a little intro. Then I leave the room and you make him regret the day he was born. We go back and forth a couple times until either he talks or he can't move his jaw anymore. Either way, we've had our entertainment for the day.
Good cop, bad cop. Let's object to violence against prisoner of war.
Ah, tear my heart out, why don't you? Well, maybe you can find a way to play with his mind. Get him out of his comfort zone. People lose their heads and say things they regret. Especially if they underestimate you. This dickhead would underestimate a nuclear missile. Plenty of ways to skin a cat, as they say. Hey, what if we skinned him? Bet he wouldn't be so smug then.
Okay, let's get started.
That's the spirit. Okay, I'll go in and have a word with him. Then I'll call you in.
So there's glass
Long
here,
time
I
no
guess.
see, Celus.
Lieutenant,
I was just
funny.
thinking about you.
Funny we
That's
don't
so.
have
I
two
was just thinking about that pretty
subtitles
neck of
playing.
yours.
How sweet.
I was thinking
Sometimes the
about how it
subtitles
would
work.
look with a Legion slave collar on it.
I'll pass.
Do you know what I love about our slave collars, Lieutenant?
If you love them, maybe you should try one on.
I love how tightly they fit. I train my men to make sure the slave's flesh bulges a bit around the top and bottom. Know why?
It's all the rage in fashion circles.
Not quite.
Too
If
much
you fit it
dialogue.
just right, their body never gets used to the feeling of wearing it. It cuts in just enough when they swallow or turn their head to remind them who they belong to. And it's that constant reminder that keeps them docile.
I just can't
In
ever
that
see
case,
siding with
maybe you'd better
Legion.
save the collar you were gonna give me.
Oh? For whom?
For a friend of mine you're about to meet. My friend isn't very docile.
And who is this friend of yours?
You know all the rules the NCR instituted to protect enemy prisoners of war?
Of course.
My friend doesn't. Oh, and Silus, if you resist at all, I'll personally blow your brains out. Come on in, he's all yours. I'll be back in a bit to see how you're getting along. And I'll need you to surrender your weapons before you go in. You can pick them up from the locker on your way out.
So now it automatically unarmed me. Let's talk to this guy.
What an ugly little worm you are. What pile of excrement did the lieutenant
What would be the
pluck you
point
from,
of getting
worm?
our speech so high? Let's see. So we have speech, we have intelligence, and we have just attack as options. Intelligence requires an 8, so I'd assume that might give me more XP than this, but I imagine it's going to give me the same amount of XP.
You're nothing. You're some inept mercenary the NCR is paying to supplement its own incompetent soldiers.
Let's see. Interesting. So I have several different intelligence things that we can say. Although the one I think I've seen them say is this one. So unless there was a case that... Yeah, it definitely seems like there's a case here that these might be slightly wrong Latin and that you need to actually pick the right one.
No, listen. Caesar's secrets are safe with me. I stayed alive because Caesar would have wanted it. I'm useless to him dead.
So now we can continue with our intelligence.
I've told them nothing. They've gotten nowhere. I'm a Centurion, for Christ's sake. I deserve his trust.
And I guess we're just going to keep going down the intelligence train.
You have to let this go. I'll disappear. No one will ever see me again. That was always the plan in the first place.
Let's go with speech this time.
You must have some reason to be in your line of work. Tell me, what did the Legion do to you? Did we enslave your children? Slaughter your family before your eyes to teach you a lesson? Whatever it was, I hope I was there to give the order.
It was giving me question marks as far as whether I was succeeding or not.
Foot soldiers of the Legion
See,
are
question
trained not
mark
to have
in the
to think
box.
for themselves, to have conflict removed from their minds. They kill themselves to evade capture because they are not trusted to make such a decision rationally in the heat of battle. But I'm no foot soldier. I knew I could escape captivity on my own without revealing the tiniest iota of information to my captors. I'll show you gutless, you sniveling bastard. I'll spill your guts all over this room.
So, that was a success?
Get away from me.
Something the matter, Silus? You look upset. I don't know. I thought she seemed like a nice lady.
Your friend is a miserable fucking degenerate.
That's a long walk, Silus. I don't think it's gonna happen. You'd better just talk.
If we were on the other side of the river, I'd have her torn apart by dogs.
If you
I
don't
think
like
that
dealing
line,
with me, I can bring my friends.
these lines of dialogue are out of
Your
order.
tactics are a joke.
Have it your way. Come on back in. I think he misses you.
Apparently I was supposed to leave.
We don't have anything to discuss, worm. Coward?
I've faced odds that would make your NCR soldiers.
So it seems like it was just supposed to be
I've led charges against
multiple
men with
interviews
guns,
here.
carrying only my knife. And I can tell you, it was they who feared me. But suicide is a weak death on a battlefield.
Clearly, it would be
It says
easier
to
just to
your
beat
enemy
him
that
up.
you fear capture. It says if you're caught, you can be broken. You think I'm going to slit my throat for some megalomaniacal self-appointed dictator? I didn't work my way up to have it all be taken from me out of some irrational paranoia. Caesar's losing it. I believe that. He's been shutting himself in his tent. Privately, he complains of headaches. Whatever it is, it's affecting his ability to lead.
Continue listening.
Time was essential for my mission, but we waited 3 days for him to dispatch us. Another of his headaches. Does that sound like a man in command? He has an operative planted in this very base, but does he use his agent to rescue me? No. He's content to have the agent spend his nights radioing troop positions back to our base camp. He knows I'm here, and he's left me to rot. I don't know. I know he sends intelligence by radio in the middle of the night. Sometimes that intelligence would find its way to my cantery. Then you're a fool. That man reports to Caesar on what I do here. The Legion isn't going to take me back. My only hope is to escape and disappear. But if I escape and he reports it, they'll hunt me down as long as I live. It served me to report him as much as it served you. I hope the Legion burns your wretched body at the stake when they conquer this place. Nothing I could tell you would do anything to stop that.
So is she coming back? Or is there more conversation to have?
Get away from me.
Like, what am I supposed to be really going for here? Yeah. Did we interview enough, or is there possibly some other... Could we get behind him and pickpocket him? He doesn't have anything on him. So I think that may just be it. Now we've just gotten all of our items back. This is going to tell me every single one of them.
Say, or do you always look like that? You did well. I don't know how you did it without putting a scratch on him, and I'm a little disappointed personally, but it saved the NCR some face. And it could save us more than that when all is said and done. I'm gonna talk to some people when we're through here. This is about double the standard fee we'd give a consultant, but from what I saw, you're more of an artist. So think of this as your commission.
So we get 300 bottle caps, 325 XP.
Now, what kind of MP would I be if I didn't notice anything suspicious? I've had soldiers go AWOL, break-ins, thefts, you name it. Well, there's Anders. He's a ranger. That one's not suspicious so much as worrisome. He left on a dangerous assignment. Colonel Shu
A
sent
lot of
him
this
out.
dialogue is just
Now I
sending
think he
us
feels guilty not
in
having any way
circles
to
to
check up on
other
him.
quests.
I don't know him very well myself. I seem to remember that he was the man to call on if you needed someone to get in and
Now,
get out quietly.
I'm going to have to
Colonel
probably
Shu would really
re-equip
be the
all of
person
my
to talk to.
items.
Maybe break-in isn't the right word. We didn't find signs of forced entry, but I've had reports of someone sneaking into the control tower at night. It's probably just a meeting spot for a steamy military base love affair. Kids today. But it bothers me that they didn't break in. It means they have an access code. Most soldiers around the base don't have that. Sure, if you want to investigate. It's not like there's anything to steal up there, just a bunch of old communications equipment. If you can find out any more, I'd be interested to hear it. There's something about this I really don't like. And if I weren't tied up here, I'd be staking it out personally.
So this feels like a lot of these quests may stay within this base area.
Not the kind of things you like to see go missing.
Which,
No witnesses yet. I've got my money on Sergeant Contreras, who's supposed to be in charge of distribution, the little weasel.
I kind of wonder
But
if
he's too
a game
slick
like
to
this
let
wouldn't
anyone
be
catch him
better
doing it.
if you
We've searched his
started
possessions
in
a
a
dozen times.
smaller
Nothing.
areas like this and then fast traveled between areas and then didn't really get to the point where you would exit the city locations into the more open world until several hours into the game.
Good. The more guns you can recover, the more I'll be able to use to shoot
But
Contreras
if you
for
did
being
do
inept.
that, it would make the game even worse because I'd give you less
Yep.
opportunity
See
for
you around.
random enemies, and we still have far too many instances where I'm not running into enough random enemies.
Glad you're with us.
So that guy doesn't talk to us, so I would heavily suspect he might be our criminal spy. Okay. Now we're looking for Betsy. Looks like there's a cherry bomb in that area. We can't open this cell door. Sleep in the bed, I guess, if we wanted to. There's a poster I don't think I've seen. Don't eat radiated food. Good advice. Regular NCR concourse exit. We probably have to go on the concourse to get to the tower. Here we have a plane hanging up here. So now I would assume none of these slot machines are interactable. Well, that is weird. Is that supposed to be creepy? We've seen one instance of the game being creepy before.
Evening.
Another unimportant NPC. Who is making these newer posters? Wouldn't it be a case with wouldn't it be a case that all the posters should be really old? And this poster is weird. Just feels kind of out of place compared to all the other posters that are in the other Fallout games. Here we have a singer poster. Still a lot of nothing. What in the world? What in the world happened there?
You got something to say, or do you always? You did well.
We will go through all of that.
Yep. See you.
Okay. Let's go make a hard save. I have no idea why somebody would have attacked me there.
You got something
And
to say, or do
that
you always look like that?
really does just highlight how glitchy this game can be at times. Because that just doesn't make any sense. We'll look over here this time instead of on that side, just to see if there was anything. don't think I stole anything. I don't think I would have trespassed anywhere.
Hold it. NCR only beyond this point. Keep your distance or I will fire.
Okay. So that's why they started firing at me, but they were in the wrong position. They should have been programmed to always stand in that spot and give that verbal warning, instead of me walking to what looked like just a regular door.
Patrolling the Mojave almost makes you wish for it.
And the game is going to crash. Yeah, you can definitely feel when it's going to crash too. This game is very consistent about its crashiness. That is not something to be proud of by any means. So, it seems to me like the NCR is led by someone who's too afraid to lose territory, and so he won't attack. And then Kaiser seems to be having headaches, and so he won't attack. Thus the standstill. Meanwhile, these low-level troopers are seemingly getting killed
Did the
and
colonel
slaughtered.
send you? I was hoping he might have changed his mind. I know. I've been crying. Stupid. I'm supposed to be a soldier. My husband, he's a ranger, and he got murdered by a pack of fiends. Goddamn savages laid his body out to rot. Brass won't say it to me straight, but they mean to leave Esteban out there. I can see that plain. He was out on patrol. Bunch of drugged up fiends attacked them.
So it seems like we'll get
Esteban laid
another
down
quest.
cover fire while the others fell back. One of the men saw him get shot. He didn't die though. Not then. They tried to go back for him, but there were too many fiends and they had to pull out. Damn savages chased them halfway to McCarran. Ma'am, I'd about given up hope. But you've got to be careful. I don't want anybody else dying on my account. Esteban's body is laid out between some of the buildings, east of the Repcon headquarters. At least that's what his squad mates said. There's an NCR position just north of there. It's on the way. They should be able to tell you what the situation is.
Why are these spinning? Are these just like randomly spinning these now? This concourse is big. And I imagine this concourse is just based off an actual airport in Las Vegas. So this may very well just be them copying what really was there. You'd think you'd be able to search all of these slot machines for bottle caps or old world money, pre-war money. Probably pre-war money.
Hey.
Unlike Fallout 3, though, I would say this is not very much a journey through American history, early history of the original 13 colonies, as much as this might be a journey that is slightly interesting to a small group of people who are incredibly we don't have enough repair skill to repair that. Alright. see if we can read a magazine to do that. Yeah. You would have to be incredibly familiar with Las Vegas for any of this to be recognizable.
Hello.
Okay. So.
Listen, asshole, I know you're not really an NCR health inspector, so you can cut the restaurant critique routine. And I want my 50 caps back. Because I looked it up, and there ain't no disease called colorectal implosion syndrome. So I paid you to look the other way for nothing. Wait, you're not... Oh, wow, I'm sorry. You look just like... Never mind, sorry. So what can I serve you up?
I wonder if I have a twin that looks exactly the same.
Amazing. I thought that thing was done for. That'll help me transform what I can offer the troops. I'll give you a little extra discount the next time you buy food from me. Thanks again. That's nothing. You just look like the health inspector who stopped through for the yearly inspection a couple of weeks back. I was hoping I wouldn't have to wait another 11 months to see his crooked ass to get my caps back. Ah, well. Anything I can get you? Oh, yeah. You can order up anything you want. As long as it's corn or beans. Just kidding. Haven't you heard? With a few shipments from home and a little variety, the troops are getting restless for some quality grub. You can only do so much as a chef with just corn, beans, onions, and peppers. Well, we haven't had any quality meat in months. Everyone in the camp just eating beans for protein. It isn't pretty. Some of my kitchen machinery is broken down too, so we've been eating mostly raw vegetables. And I'm desperate for spices or seasonings. Anything, just something for the general mood around here. It doesn't need to all come from the same source. There are a bunch of different vendors around who sell meat. Fitz, the Nashes, Crimson Caravan. We've never really tried to go out and organize deals with merchants to supply our food. Already having an overstock of food, we haven't needed to. But we really need some good old red meat on the menu soon. So I'm willing to divert some caps in their direction if they're open to supplying us.
So it seems like we're going to have to talk to people to get supply lines of meat. We can't just sell him meat.
The Crimson Caravan would probably be able to arrange a regular shipment, but I don't know of any spices known to improve mood. Hell, we have a whole research department. One guy's even set up in the main terminal building. They're the ones who ought to be looking into it. Here's the list. We've been scrapping together quick fixes to keep it running for months. I think it finally crapped out and needs a full overhaul. It's the goofy machine behind the counter in the corner next to the stove. I'd be much obliged if you could take a look at it and get it fixed up. I don't know. Try the various traders around the waste. Or the pawn shop in West Side might have some parts. Oh, I've heard of a place called House Tools you could check out. It's an old factory on the north side of Vegas. Just a word of warning, though. I hear no one who goes in there comes back out. Could be traps, crazy robots, or who knows what's in that place.
Okay.
What can I do for you? Chow down.
So he's got nothing other than purified water. So I don't see any reason why I would want to buy anything from him. Then it would just come down to, do I want to sell anything to him? He has no caps at all. So unless I was going to buy a pencil. You don't see this very often, where there's a trader that has just been straight up designed in such a way that you really can't do anything with it. That would have been a long list of stuff. I don't think we really need to do any of that, though. Yeah. And as far as quests go, did that really give me any actual quests? No. So what will inevitably happen is we will forget totally about the idea of doing supply lines and all of that, and we will end up talking to the Crimson Caravan hours from now and have some line of dialogue that I don't remember at all, connecting to setting up a trading agreement. Meanwhile, let's see. I bet there isn't much else around here. It seems like there's a whole secondary base concept. Which, none of this makes any sense to be this big and this empty unless we are going to convert a significant amount of NCR troopers from other locations to this location. A lot of X-rays here.
Some radiation sickness.
Let's talk to Dr. Kemp.
Do you require medical attention?
See if we can buy some medical supplies. It's 2,000 caps. We could buy all this. We can buy all this. We can buy all this. And we can buy all this. Then I don't think I really have let's see. Let's just go ahead and sell that. Really don't need to sell a lot of this, but yeah, what I don't want to do here is go into the inventory of the other characters. Let's not buy any of that. What happened there? What did I just buy? Well, I totally just screwed up in some way and just gave him a whole bunch of caps.
Customer. Later.
Alright, well. Give me your
got
inventory.
Something good for me? Is it a dress?
Howdy.
I really don't care
Here's what's currently
too much. Right, so yeah, if I just sell that machine gun and then that machine gun, that's gonna put me in a pretty good position anyways. Maybe I should repair up some of these other items better. 357, 308s. Third. then that's going to involve trying to buy more valueless things from him. Okay, we have roughly 700 that we would want to sell. Still. Some of these are useless. Okay. Then we'll try and get rid of things that weigh a lot. Got about 200 more to trade. Now, unfortunately, I'm kind of realizing this, that I never really got around to playing Mass Effect, and I feel like Mass Effect may have had similar RPG elements, but done a better job of breaking down vendor trash. Whereas, yeah, I question if... Well, I don't have to question anything, do I? We know for a fact that this is just over-encumbering me like crazy. And even worse than over-encumbering me, it's simply just wasting all of my time. Seems like I have two different pencils. I have half a mind to just get rid of this.
Thanks. Bye.
Okay. So then the question is just going to come down to how much stuff do we have that we can now
You're making me
put
carry
back.
the heavy stuff, aren't you?
Do we have anything else? You know, one thing I did realize we probably should give her some stim packs. Not all of them, but if we gave her about half of them, that would reduce my carriage weight and allow her to heal herself if she gets injured. Alright, so I think that's pretty good turn of events. Of course, in a city like this, there's a decent chance you will just run into another shopper, another shop that you potentially would want to trade more items from. Seems like it would make a lot of sense for there to be one trader right at the gate of every area. And in Fallout 3, it kind of felt like that was more the case. Okay. What time is it right now? It's 8 p.m. I've heard some things have gone missing.
You look like someone in need of a reliable supplier. Take your pick.
Oh. What do we want? An assault carabiner. These guns are very powerful, but also very expensive. An assault carbine, if I read that correctly. That's not even really doing a lot of damage, nor do I have a lot of bullets for any of these.
Are you implying I have some kind of secret under the table stash I only offer to certain clients? Because that could get a man in trouble. Now you're talking my language. I do have an expanded inventory for people I can trust. If you're willing to do a little legwork for me, I could give you access to my stash and at a discount. Many of these items aren't available in the NCR, and you'll be hard-pressed to find them at a better price anywhere else. Well, I can't exactly go wandering off the base whenever I want, you know. They're already suspicious. I can hear the MPs now. Gee, Contreras, I didn't know you had so many friends in the gun runners. Speaking of which, guess your first stop. You're just passing a little note to a man named Isaac for me. I want to know which girl he likes. Great, let me know what he says. They're almost a straight shot north from here, up past the sharecroppers. Bye.
So he's probably passing notes that are encoded, would be my guess. And so he's probably our bad guy. One of them. And let's see. Last time I did this, it somehow overburdened me. None of this gives you experience. It definitely feels like it should. Yeah. If you were playing on a harder difficulty, it definitely seems like maybe you would need to do more of that. But it is almost a completely different concept from what crafting was in Fallout 3, where you would have schematics and craft items out of junk items. Right. Let's go ahead and make a safety save here and see if we can hack this computer and maybe find something else out. Seems like I lost karma the second I tried to hack this computer. Alright, we'll start with particles. That's 2. So, would there be 2 letters in the same place with delivered? Because there's no point in trying it if there's only 1 in the same place. Would there be 2 in retreated? No. Would there be 2 in basically? Yes. So basically and particles don't line up. So instantly would not be right. I already said it, no to deliver. Favorable. Nope. Start over, lose some more karma. It seems the game indicates that karma doesn't really matter too much. And frankly, you can gain karma in some random ways anyways. Just by killing like ghouls and disguises. So it wouldn't be anything DE. It wouldn't be this. Temporary. Is there even one thing that lines up with that? No. So I think that means we're over here. Mechanism. We have one thing that lines up with that. Doesn't seem like it. Histories. That's too many things that line up. Defensive. There's two things. Developed. Oh. I'm gonna do all this hacking and probably just load from the save file and not lose the karma. You would think that you would just maybe get a auto hack ability if you got up to a certain level and just skip this. Increase gun weapon runners' weapon shipments and modify manifests to make these numbers match the earlier totals. Boyd is getting suspicious. Alright. So we need to turn in the guy to Boyd. And we'll just agree to lose that karma since it's not that big of a deal. And we're on top of the whole airplane place. Now, there we have some vertibirds, or what look like vertibirds. And so there might very well be a cinematic going off to war, major conflict scene around all of this, but that may not happen for hours from now. The tower seems to be interesting. Can I jump over barbed wire? No. Is this some kind of training facility, parkour? Doesn't seem like there's really anything there. Yeah. There's just no telling how to get back. Okay. That's how we get back. Boyd. This one isn't Boyd. This is Carter's. Let's go talk to Boyd. Where's Boyd? She's probably in her office.
You're back.
I have proof Sergeant Centaurus is involved in criminal activity.
That may be the worst kept secret on the base. I'd be more surprised if you had proof he wasn't involved in criminal activity. But if you have proof, you're the envy of every MP stationed here. What'd you find?
Actor in his computer and found evidence he's selling NCR guns.
Little bastard. I'm sure some of those find their way into the hands of our enemies, too. Alright, thanks for telling me. I'm gonna have him rounded up. Pretty impressive work there. Wish I could keep you around. But for helping me nail this guy, I think you should have a little keepsake. Here, it's not contraband, but I confiscated it from Contreras last week, because he was being smarmy and I was sick of his bullshit.
So we get some fame. And now we have something called this machine.
Yep, see you around.
We're now liked by the NCR. And still looking for Corporal Betsy. What was this machine, by the way? That gun, this machine. Well, that does seem like that is a better gun. Alright. Speak with Corporal Betsy. Where is Corporal Betsy? Seems like she may be down there. I may finally have a gun that is actually worth something. And then this here, where was this gonna send me? I guess it's gonna send me that way. And so I'm also seeing in the world map that this whole section that we couldn't enter before is actually the airport. So it's kind of no surprise we couldn't enter that area. Follow the green arrow. So I don't know if that's the control tower. I think it is actually that way. This is Corporal Betty.
Hey girl, you need something from me?
Let's see.
Not unless you count the fiends as serious. Gorobets keeps us inside the fence most of the time. Doesn't matter to me. I just shoot bad guys. Sooner or later, they'll move us out to the dam, though. That's when the shit gets nasty. Legion fights to win, and they're smart. Hell of a
We'll
lot
just
smarter than
exhaust
these
all the
crazy
dialogue
fiends.
here once again.
But I don't feel bad about shooting Legion boys. Fiends, on the other hand, sometimes I get pangs of conscience. Not often, but sometimes. Some cute little junkie bitch, so fucked up she doesn't even know that she's the bad guy. And I've got a headshot her. Makes me think. Might just be sex, though. I see some cute little number and I'd rather get in her pants. So maybe I'm a stone cold bitch after all.
It's so funny how different this would be received if this was just a male character saying the exact same lines of dialogue.
What gave me away? The big gun, the shades, or the attitude? Yup, a lot of people make that connection. Big gun, sniper. Some people don't even need to ask.
So we'll just go with this.
The lieutenant's been talking to you, hasn't he? Look, I don't need a head doctor. I'm first recon, damn it. You don't see the others crying about every little bruise and scrape, do you?
Let's see. So we could go speech 60, or we could go medical 40. I don't like what speech 60 really is, but it might resonate with her more. Let's go with medical.
Just another injury to take care of, huh? Well, when you put it that way. Alright. You can tell the lieutenant I finally caved. There's a Dr. Usanagi who's supposed to be good at this sort of thing. Yeah. Try not to get killed.
So now it's fun if we can find the lieutenant.
Go quiet. The Legion can count on that.
See, I don't know what I was really supposed
Howdy.
to do with
What
Corporal
brings you back?
Sterling.
As a matter of fact, it's funny that you'd ask. A couple nights back, I was on watch in the yard. Got myself a habit of looking all around, not just where I'd expect to find trouble. Old habit, but it saved my hide on occasion. Round about 1 in the morning, I spied some lights in the control tower. Now that's the 3rd time I've spied those lights, mind you. And every time I ask about it, they tell me the place was empty. I'm just saying, it didn't look empty to me. No trouble at all. Might be nothing. Couple frisky young folks looking for a quiet place to snuggle up. That light is mighty consistent. Always there at 1 a.m. Might be worth a
At least
look.
we have now a full
Always a
time
pleasure.
instead of
Keep
just
yourself safe.
night in general. Where is the lieutenant? Well, Lieutenant Spades, Sergeant Bitterroot. It was the lieutenant. He was right there asleep.
What can I do for you?
So they're all in that one location, that one tent.
I wish someone with your medical training had come along sooner. I think she'll actually stick with the treatment because of what you said. I was afraid that Betsy wouldn't go for long-term treatment because she didn't want to look bad in front of the rest of the squad. You settled that. Do me a favor and let Usanagi know Corporal Betsy is coming. I'd like to make sure the medical clinic has time for her.
Okay.
Carry on.
Where's Usanagi? Though. Seems like Usanagi is way up here. So that's a quest for another time. Now, I would assume these dots mean I actually have to go inside the building again. I wouldn't just assume I could run that direction. Let's see if maybe the local map helps us with this any better. Terminal building, it wants me. But I almost wonder if it's gonna send me in a different direction. Okay. Does seem like that's what I was supposed to do. And seems like it's just gonna be a long walk to a pair of doors that you could easily have overlooked or just assumed you were going to have to come around from a different path. Definitely does feel like there should be more going on here. Now what I don't like, and again the theme here has definitely been around how modern games should take on these old concepts. I don't like that I was given the password, and so I don't think I'm gonna have to hack. Oh, apparently I am gonna have to hack. Or maybe they did give me the password and I just didn't read it. Let's go with a part. That is 1 correct. So if I went with Spark, that would be 2 correct, so that's not it. If I went Agile, that would only be 1 correct. That means it's not Scale. It's never this garbage. Could it be Grave? Maybe. And yeah, again, this is supposed to be very easy. If it is the case that I do have the password as a note, then I should just read the note instead of trying to hack. Reached is 2 correct. Doesn't seem like there's as many options. Eases. Being easy, that gave me 2 XP, I guess. So it's either Barker or Reynolds. And the times would say Barker. If we believe the logs. I also just had a key to open that. Okay. So, talk radio, what does that do? Nothing? Right, so we want to wait 2 hours. Let's be hidden and wait 2 hours. That should be 1 in the morning. Right, 1 in the morning. There should be somebody here. And we don't see him. So maybe we needed to be out here. We did just see somebody go in here.
Lupa, this is Frumentarius Picus. Over.
Go ahead, Picus.
What are you doing here? You don't have clearance.
Let's see.
Really? And how would you know where I'm supposed to be? I don't know what you mean.
So Curtis fires on me first. Go ahead and take an activation code, a beret. Combat knife? Nah. Don't bother with that. Okay. So that was a quick finish to that quest. And I think what that's really going to leave us with is a couple of quests we were able to do to get a boost on our XP somewhat in this area, and then we've got a couple directions in which we know to go and do some other things and investigate. So we're in pretty good position. Yeah. But you know what? I think what I'll do is we'll turn in that quest at the beginning of the next episode. Yeah. We've been going long enough here. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, and keep on watching. Thanks.